Hi everybody, thanks very much for joining me down at the woodshed. It's much appreciated. So today we're going to talk about the axe, or more specifically my axe collection. Now I've had a fascination with axes since I was a very young child, and it has endured down to this day. So behind me I have my collection. It's not extensive, maybe about a dozen axes, but you know, I love them all. I use almost all of them. There's a couple there that are chiefly wall hangers, but I love having those ones too. So let's get into my axe collection, the ones I have, the ones I use, how I acquired some of them, because there's a little bit of a story with one or two of them. So let's get into it. So I've had a lifelong fascination with the axe, and as a child I was told to stay away from that axe, it's dangerous. And of course they are very dangerous, and of course I didn't listen. So I got bit pretty badly in the foot. Thankfully it all healed up perfectly. There's been no long-term effects from that. But you should know how to use an axe. You should know how to use it safely. And some people would call the axe the ultimate survival tool, the most important tool you can take with you in the woods. Some will say it's your axe, some would say it's your knife, other people maintain it's your saw. Of those three, which do you think is the most important survival tool? So let's get started. I think I'll start from the smallest, move up to the biggest. This is a little hatchet from Hultafors, from their classic line. I won't say the name of this one because I will butcher it. It's a Scandinavian name, but it's a beautiful little axe with a nice quality sheath that you can also wear on your belt. Now, sheath or mask is interchangeable. You can say either one, but actually it is an axe mask, not an axe sheath. But I will get those mixed up over the course of this video. Beautiful design on this. You can choke up, and this axe is so useful because you can use it in place of a knife in many cases. It's just that handy to use. You can use it to do some fine carving, of course, splitting kindling. This is perfect for splitting kindling. I've used it to carve many a spoon and a few cookses. You know, a tool like this is awesome to have. It doesn't take up much room in your pack. It's fairly light, and I enjoy taking one of these little beauties in the woods with me. I have a few hatchets. This is the smallest. This one here I've had for about a year and a half, and it's from Beavercraft. And I've been using it in a lot of different situations. I want to really get a good feel for it because I'm working on a review for you guys. I've even loaned it out to people to get their opinion, get their thoughts on it. I want to do a well-rounded review for you guys. And it falls into that category of a very small pack axe, one that you could use for carving. You could use it in place of a knife, just like that other Hultafors. It has a nice shaped head that you can choke up on, do those fine tasks, even make feather sticks with something like this. You know, an axe this size is a handy one to have. This in the combination with a knife and a saw, or this with a little bit bigger axe, will get you through most tasks around camp. If you were to ask me what my favorite hatchet is, it'd be a tough call between this one and the next one I'm going to show you, but I think I'm leaning more towards this one. It's a vintage HB head on a new Holtzbrook handle. Now, I handled this myself several years ago, did a nice job I think, and a friend made me this beautiful mask, absolutely outstanding mask. And the way I acquired this was a friend found it in the dump, and he knew I liked axes. He asked if I wanted to trade something for it, so sure, I traded him a little pocket knife or something, I forget, for this vintage head, and I had a lot of fun putting it together, and it's an absolutely beautiful axe. But look at this mask, the detail on the mask, just a beautifully done mask. It's the top of the axe. I think I did a good job on this one. It's been holding strong for several years. And the metal on these vintage HB heads is just fantastic. It's about 1.25 pounds. You can find a perfectly fitting handle for these heads. Keep an eye out for these at flea markets, yard sales, things like that. I've had 3 or 4 of them over the years. They fit a variety of handles and they're absolutely amazing. I love this little hatchet. This little beauty is from Grand Force Brook, and it's their outdoor axe. It's a gorgeous axe designed by Lars Falt, and he knows his way around axes, that's for sure. Now, it has kind of a tomahawkish feel to it. It's absolutely beautiful, one of my favorites. And even though it has kind of a tomahawk feel to it, there's enough of a palm swell at the bottom to give you excellent purchase. It's really a very secure axe to swing. Collar here to protect the handle, and has a real wedgy head. So you can split some decent wood with this. Has a nice weight to it when you're swinging. Actually, beautiful little axe. And the beautiful thing about Grand Force is that they're handmade, and the person who makes them stamps their initials, so you can go and find out exactly who made this axe. They take pride in their workmanship, so they put their initials on it. And you can't go wrong with any of the Grand Force axes. The finest production models in the world, I believe. I'm talking about axes you can just go to a store and buy them off the shelf and take them home. Beautiful little axes, and I love the outdoor axe. It's staying. So let's move on to more of a medium size axe, maybe a boy's axe. And these are a great size. This one is 19 inches long. They fit easily into almost any pack. They're easily used with just one hand. You can use 2 hands with these as well. And I'm going to call this my Franken axe because it's a combination of the head from a Husqvarna 12-inch hatchet, and I put it on the Grand Force Small Forest axe handle, and it was a fantastic fit. I added this little collar here, leather collar, to protect it, and it was actually a really easy process to put this handle on this head. It fit perfectly, and as you can see, there's quite a swell at the top, so it's on there really well. It's been on there for about 7 years, I would say, and it hasn't budged one little bit. If you have one of these Husqvarna 12-inch hatchets and you want to put it on a little bit longer handle, one of these Grand Force Small Forest axe handles fits beautifully. And why did I do that? I just felt it was a little unwieldy on the handle that Husqvarna gave with it. It was a really thick handle. I didn't really like it, and this is a much better fit in my opinion. Nice steel on this axe head though. They are a bargain. If you take one of these and put one of those on it, you have a pretty inexpensive but high quality pack axe. Another from Grand Force Brook, the Small Forest axe, one of my favorites. It's everybody's favorite really. It's just so handy to stick in your pack. It's a true bushcraft axe. It doesn't do one thing perfectly. It's not a great splitter, but you can split some pretty nice chunky pieces of wood with proper technique. It's not a big felling axe, but it is a great bushcraft axe because it's good for carving. You can use it to make tools to use around the camp, and everyone just loves this axe. I mean, the head design is quite slicey. You can get this thing razor sharp as any knife, that's for sure. And it's very similar to my Franken axe, but there are differences in the heads, as you can see. The Husqvarna head is a little bit better for splitting. This is a better crafting axe, or for delimbing, things like that. Beautiful little axe, one of my favorites. So I just want to show you some detail on this beauty. I mean, this one blows me away every time I pick it up. I honestly don't use it very often. It hangs in my office. It's just that beautiful. And it's from Joe from One Wolf Leather. He's on Instagram. I'll leave a link. This is a vintage Iltis ox head. German-made head that he hung on this custom carved haft. Now Joe's work is outstanding. I'm just in awe. The tooling on this leather work is just gorgeous. No detail is left. He's just amazing. If you're looking to add something extra special to your collection, please look up Joe. I mean, he is the guy. He can source you a head that you want to add to your collection, put it on any handle that you want, and you will not be disappointed, and a super cool guy to deal with. I'll leave his information in the description box down below, but he's worth checking out on Instagram. Just an amazing guy. So Joe hung this axe head on this 19-inch handle. He has a custom finish that he puts down here. He won't give me any details on what he does in his staining process, but it's just beautiful. And check out the grind and the workmanship on that. It's absolutely beautiful. Just look at that. I mean, would you use something this beautiful? I don't know. I think Joe's a little disappointed I don't swing this more, but sorry brother, it's just too nice. If you want something special, look up Joe. So some more love here for Holtz Brook. Now, this is vintage. It's in as found condition. This is all straight factory except for the sheath that was added later. It's a Holtz Brook 2 1/4 pound head. I think this is a 21 or a 23-inch handle. Another perfect little axe for the pack. This is absolutely original except for the stickers that were on it from the factory. It still had the original Holtz Brook stickers on it from the factory. I've since removed them in sharpening and in use, but perhaps I should have just kept this as it was. Late 70s, maybe early 80s. To some of us, that's not too long ago, but it is a fair number of years ago. For a while, they were using a resin to hold the head to the haft, and there's been no movement on this head over the years. Now, this was a yard sale find by my wife, and the amazing thing about it was she was not only able to find one, she was able to find two in as found condition, like new from the factory. Just amazing. And you're gonna hate me if I tell you that she got both for $20. I love the handles on these, nice and slim. You know, we should talk about axe handles. Seems like nowadays all the axe handles are really thick and bulky, but I don't like using the thick, bulky ones. They just transfer too much vibration to my hands, I find. These are a lot more comfortable to use, a lot more comfortable to swing. And they used to make them that way. More and more. Made in Sweden, 2 1/4 pound Holtz Brook. I think these are my favorite vintage axes, to be honest. So as I said, she found two that day. This is a 2 1/2 pounder. The other one was 2 1/4. As found, it had the factory stickers on it, as I said. Both of these beauties for $20. How can you say no to something like that? What a great wife I have. So let's talk about this vintage Holtz Brook axe. It's a 3 pounder, and I have to say this is my most used axe. I've packed it for sure. I've taken it on winter camping trips. It's great for processing a lot of firewood when you want that little bit heavier axe. Bit of a story to this one. I found it in a friend's garage. It was in unusable condition. The handle that was on it was shot. Took it home, gave it some love, put it on a new handle. I think this is a 30-inch handle, and it's definitely my most used axe. I keep it down here in the woodshed. So look at the job I did hanging. It hasn't moved in many years. Just a great axe. And you can find these vintage HB heads at yard sales, antique shops. They're not expensive. At least they haven't been expensive in my experience. And you can have a nice little project, find yourself a really nice handle. Actually, a friend gave me this handle. Love this axe. As I said, my most used. I might have to put a new handle on that one day, but for now it's holding just fine. Here's another axe from Husqvarna. This is called their all-purpose axe, or maybe their forest axe. It's changed names over the years. Absolutely fantastic axe for the money. I've split a lot of wood with this. Has a really nice profile to the head. You know, these are great axes for a bargain. They're not too long. I'm not sure, maybe like a 24-inch handle, which is still packable, that's for sure. Handle's a little thick for my liking, but that can easily be thinned out with a 4-in-1 rasp. If you're looking for a good user, think about one of these. They won't let you down, that's for sure. Another Gränsfors Bruch axe. This is the Scandinavian forest axe. Kind of tough to get in my experience. Sold out quite often where I buy my axes here up in Canada. But it's a beautiful axe, worth checking around, worth waiting for. Sometimes you can get on a waiting list. Bigger than the small forest axe. Certainly more capable. You can get a better swing with something like this, that's for sure. This one was made by TT. Now, it's one of those axes where if you were to buy just one, I would say this one. Not too big to pack. You can use it one-handed. You can choke up on it for doing fine work and crafting. And you can certainly swing with this. Fell trees, delimb trees. Great little camp axe. Scandinavian forest axe. Gränsfors Bruch. Can't go wrong with one of these. So I like this big boy. I got this head at a yard sale for $1. Now if I go to a yard sale and I don't see any axe heads out, I'll ask. Quite often they'll bring one out. They think it's worthless. I got this one for $1. I don't think it's that valuable. It's marked 3.5 on the bottom, and up top it's marked DT. That's all I know about it. It was in super rough shape when I got it. I hung it on this 36-inch handle, and what a beautiful handle it is. Nice and slender. I love this. You know, it's a good little hobby. You can find these heads at yard sales, antique shops in rough shape. They're not that expensive if they're not a super collectible one, but they're fun to work on, and that's what I like to do. You know, you get better at it as you go. It's not a difficult process, actually. I don't use this one all that much. I just like looking at it. If you find that strange, well, maybe it is. But it is a good splitter, though. So here's one I obviously don't use. It's still in its original packaging from the 70s to early 80s. The shrink wrap has never been broken or opened. It's all original. The Norland Voyageur Hudson Bay axe with the original leather mask still intact. Gorgeous knife. A gift from my beautiful wife. She knows what I like. I'm dying to take this out and use it, but of course I won't. This is a collector's piece for sure. So here's something really ugly. This is a future project. This is about as ugly as it gets. Got this at a yard sale, I think for about $10 or something like that. I'm a sucker for a nice handle. This is a beautiful handle with this fawn's foot palm swell. Look at that. I know I can save the handle. The head and the bit, well, they've seen better days, but I don't think it's irreparable. Now the pommel is an absolute mess, and in pounding that they probably distorted the eye a little bit, but sometimes you can compensate for that while you're hanging it. I'm gonna have to drop it down to about here on the shoulder. I don't want to go any further than there, but I should be able to do it. We're going to try anyway. That's a future video. Let me know in the comments if we want to try this together. It's ugly, but I think we can make something pretty out of it. We're going to try anyways. So there's the current state of my collection. Mostly vintage. I love my vintage axes, and they're mostly users except for those 2 wall hangers, but they're going to stay in the wall. They're too nice to use. It's a really fun hobby. Collecting them at antique sales, yard sales, things like that. You can get a good deal on them, fix them up, put a new handle on them. You have a beautiful axe you can use for years and years to come. Funny enough, it's hard for me to find Canadian manufacturers, even though we made a bucket load of them back in the day. So do you collect axes? What do you collect? American manufacturers, American styles? Do you collect European? Do you have many Canadian axe heads? Let me know your collections. Tell me what they're all about, what you like collecting, because everybody likes collecting something a little bit different. So while shooting this video, I did notice a few axes that required a little bit of TLC. That's okay, we'll look after that now. And actually I did shoot an axe maintenance video a few years back. I'll leave a link to that somewhere up here if you're so inclined to look at it. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching the video. I do appreciate the time you spend with the channel. If you like this type of content, please subscribe if you haven't already. It helps out immensely. And by all means, don't forget to leave a comment down below. Do you have a collection? What do you collect? What type of axe do you like to carry in the woods with you? Can't wait to read those comments. See you in the next video, guys. Bye for now.